So the conversations around award schemes have over the past couple of let's say years, been of keen interest to certain key media players and industry folks. But taking reference from recent social media posts from CEO of Image Bureau, who also will be talking about this subject with us, with the perception or the perceived interest in award schemes from the nominees and the winners, as well as even the general public. George Quaye is on the line with us. We'll get into the conversation, but real quickly. He had put up a statement that's, garnered so much attention. He said, "You say I've won an award, so I should come and pay for a table. I ask if I can get my award without paying for a table. You say no. I say thank you, take your award. You bought Mwasim." But I have George on the line for us to discuss this conversation as well as our in-house team here. George, good morning, and how are you doing, my big brother?
Very well, bro. Good morning to yourself and to all the wonderful people in the studio and to your listeners as well.
Do you think there is a decline in the interest for award shows and schemes by the general public across, be it the stakeholders or even the consumers, the viewers, the partakers?
I won't call it a decline. I mean, listen, there are two things humans by nature crave. One of them is subjugation, the desire to be led, instructed, shown what to do, the sheep concept. Every sheep, they need a shepherd. Somebody's got to lead them. We by nature crave subjugation. It is who we are. The other thing that we crave the most is recognition. Everybody loves to be recognized. Everybody loves to be commended in one way or the other. So there is no way awards would ever go on the decline. Here is where it becomes a problem. When people now start turning awards into businesses and scams. You can see an award that clearly. Somebody tells you, look, you've been nominated for Award X. Recently, I got one of those awards, and they told me I've been nominated for stand-up comic of the year. Me, George Quaye. You are nominating me for stand-up comic of the year.
Maybe you pass subtle, jokes somewhere, or I don't know.
Yes, but Jeffrey, it doesn't make me a stand-up comic. Stand-up comics are the DKBs, Foster Romanos, Ubiam Ponsa, Lex the Comic, Ujo, and all these. They are stand-up comics. You cannot even call Lil Wayne a stand-up comic. You cannot even... Look, I don't even know if you can call Jeffrey Norte a stand-up comic.
Aren't these the factors that have contributed to making, the consumers, the viewers, the fans... Hence us asking that is there a decline in the interest? Because we've seen artists jab awards shows where they don't even want to be part of it. Some have stated categorically that don't add my name to it. In your last post on social media,
it is not a matter of interest. I think some of those comments actually do come out of desire, not a lack of interest. I'll tell you why. I produced the Ghana Music Awards together with a team at Charter House for well over a decade. And I can tell you for sure that there is no single Ghanaian musician who would say they do not like the Ghana Music Awards, or they are tired of it, or they want to be left out. No, it's a big lie. I am telling you for sure that any artist who thinks or says that, I've outgrown the Ghana Music, no, it is that they never, ever outgrow it. Even those that have won, even if they would not be there themselves, they would have their reps there to represent them. Why? Everybody, like I said, humans crave subjugation and crave recognition. And for artists especially, the one thing that acts as a what's the word? It's very important for your CV. It's recognition. It's awards. You understand? That is why people would crave to have their names on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It is a recognition. It is an award. That is why when you speak to an American artist or a global icon and they are giving you their profile, they tell you 3-time Grammy nominee, 1-time Oscar nominee.
That doesn't happen in Ghana, does it?
Tony nominee. Because it is a matter of perspective. Over there, they understand the importance and value of that because they've been exposed well enough to know that the honor, the real honor is not in walking home with that plaque. It is in that nomination. And I've said that time and again. So if you hear Ghanaian artists or anybody saying, I'm tired of this, no, it is not out of the fact that they don't crave it or they don't want it. It is out of the fact that they wanted it so bad, they did not get it. And they've been wanting it, and it is not coming. Imagine how someone like Promise would have felt if he didn't win Artist of the Year this year. Just put yourself in his shoes for one moment. Just imagine. It would take a very solid team around Kim Promise to tell them that, look, don't write a letter to say you are tired of the Ghana music or you don't want them to nominate you again, because you would have been that close to it. It is not a lack of interest. It is actually an interest, a desire, a craving.
What about the fact that there are over the past years there've been a surge in the number of award schemes that we've heard and we've seen, and the credibility conversation, hasn't that in any way also hindered people's interest in award shows?
Good. I would say again, it has not changed or hindered people's interest. It is for some of these problems. You understand? People need to learn to do background checks, and people need to learn to manage their desires. Because, Jay, naturally, if somebody calls you and says, oh, Charlie, we've nominated you for this award. Oh, yeah, you'll be happy. Naturally, because it's one of the things we crave as humans, recognition. You understand? So people will be happy. Oh, I've been nominated for this. They'll celebrate it, they'll whatever, and then go without keeping an eye on the fine details. Maybe some of us have been fortunate enough to be around award schemes for so long that we understand how it should work. For over a decade that I worked on the Ghana Music Awards, never for once did I hear Charterhouse tell an artist that, okay, today we are doing the Industry Awards. It is a 3-course dinner at Golden Tulip Hotel. So you have to buy a table. It never happened. Any artist that
George, is it wrong for that approach to be put in, considering the economic hardships, the lack of support?
Yes, it is wrong, and I'll tell you why, Jay. I did not ask you to get up and organize an award scheme. If you don't have money, why are you organizing it? What is the essence of an award scheme? Now, if you want to organize an award scheme and collect money, make that award scheme publicly inviting, make it publicly exciting so that the general public who are not nominees or associated with that scheme in any way may want to purchase tickets to come and watch or be a part of that experience, or think that, oh, Jay Foley will be there, and I would love to have a picture with Jay Foley, or I'd love to hear him answer this question, so let me buy a ticket and go. Just as it happens with the Ghana Music Awards, or the 3 Music Awards, or any award schemes. The nominees should not be the ones to be paying, because the nominees are your number one stakeholders. And if you are not, look, if we want to be actually fair, we want to think carefully. If you are paying for your venue, you are paying for your sound, you are paying for your light, without the nominees, do you have an award scheme? Shouldn't you rather be paying the nominees?
Agreed.
Shouldn't you rather be paying the nominees? So why should the nominees now still be paying just to sit by a table? I don't get it. So if you want to position it that way, position it in such a way that, look, you are offering the very best of entertainment. You are offering the very best of this, the very best of that, to the extent that the general public would want to be a part of this experience. So they now pay for it. So you push that cost to them. That is if you want to either help mitigate some of the cost on you, or you actually want to make money from the scheme. Because there are reasons people organize award schemes, to either create competition in a particular sector or to make money. You understand? Or to even build their own brand. A lot of the times while I was communications director at Charterhouse, I kept explaining to people that, look, I work for this organization, and I can tell you for sure that the events that actually cost the organization too much money is the Ghana Music Awards. It does not make the company money. It costs the company too much money. But you see, it is also that leverage that has given the company that brand, that name, so that if anybody is coming from anywhere to organize any event in Ghana, they are looking for the company that did the Ghana Music Awards. That is the leverage Charterhouse would get from it, because they do it well. They do it so well. If somebody wants something similar, they would go to them. Then they can now build those people. But you cannot just get up and say you are organizing an award scheme and nominees should come and pay. Look, Jay, I went to pick up an award for Best Event Planner in Africa at the World Changers Summit in 2019. Yeah. Now, when the nomination came, it came with about 4 different letters. One of those letters said I needed to pay about, I think, $2,500 at the time for, it was not for the award. And they made it clear that even if I did not pay that money, I was still a nominee and I can still get my award plaque. They also made it clear that I had to fund my own trip. However, they made hotels for free, available for free. They had given me a hotel, but I was to pay for my own travel ticket if I could make it. If I could not make it, they could send my plaque to me via DHL. That was it. Now, what was the $2,500 for? It was for a 2-day training that was optional.
Okay.
If I wanted to be a part of that training, then I would have to pay that $2,500. But that training was just optional. It was just attached to what they were doing. So every year they pick a particular area that they would want to do some training in. Maybe this year could be marketing communications. Next year could be event planning and management. Next year could be event security. The following year could be something else. You understand? Health and safety at events or whatever. And when they pick it, they bring experts from international universities, you name it, Stanford, MIT, whatever. And then they bring them, and then people that have done it and have the experience. So there is a school associated with the award scheme of a sort. So when I am paying for it, I know I am not paying for the award. I'm paying for knowledge. And when you are done, you'll be given a certificate to that effect that you have done this 2-day course and it has empowered you or given you skills in A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, that is a different conversation. But don't tell me that I have to give you money to get a table before I can win my award. And when I ask you that, what if I don't have money to buy a table, you tell me then no, you can't win the award because that is the only criteria for you to get your award and to get into the team. You're a thief.
Agreed.
Yes, that is pure theft.
I had questions, but I think you've answered them. But wait, Lenny has a question real quickly for you. I know we have to let you off, but please just pick this one up.
Hi, George.
Hi, darling.
Do you think that the industry some way, somehow has played into this narrative? Because I remember that before, when you are doing votes, it's free, right? And you can do it via the website or whatever. And then now it started getting charged. It started from 20 pesos, 50 pesos, and then 1 cedi, 2 cedis, and then it skyrocketed before this table conversation came in. Do you think that some way, somehow, the industry or maybe consumers have also made this possible?
Okay, we need to understand the different kind of voting requirements. A beauty pageant is not an award scheme. A music reality TV show is not an award scheme. An acting or a talent-related reality TV show is not an award scheme. And these are the ones who actually, pushed out the concept of vote first. You understand? And their votes from the very beginning, you pay to vote. Or maybe you go to the company organizing its website and you have a number of caps by which you can vote, as the TGMA does now. You understand? You can vote either through your phone or you can vote via their website. And I think of the website, it is free. So that option is there. It is entirely up to you on which one you want to go with. However, I do not think that the concept of asking people to vote is what is going to alter how people perceive award schemes. And I'll tell you why. If the award scheme is competitive and people are being asked to vote, it doesn't mean the organizers want to make money off those votes. It only means the organizers want to give your true fans and followers a say. For instance, J. Foley has a song called Charlie. Have you heard it before?
George, really?
I know they like me, Charlie, because I came around as not your wife, Charlie.
Oh my
now
God,
you go
George.
about want to fight me,
Hey,
Charlie,
George
with your time. The song is there, here and here, and a few other people.
Played it before.
George,
Played it to me once.
The song is there. Now, let us assume that song has been nominated for Hip Hop Song of the Year. And the group is J. Foley and Friends. Now, Hip Hop Song is going with versus Sarkodie, versus Guru, versus that. How do you now determine a winner? It would be more exciting if the public have a say. And that is why you introduce a voting mechanism of a sort. And you need to give various options of the voting mechanism. Some can be free, but maybe not everybody can have access to the one that is free. So you give them some that are paid for. Now, you need to understand that if it is on a mobile telephony platform, that has parties that need to be paid because people need to set that up, and those people will have to get paid. So that is a totally different conversation. Now, if you have invited me, George Quaye, as I was invited for one, I'm not by my laptop. I would have mentioned the organization's name, so it doesn't come to mind readily. As I've been invited for one, and you told me that it's not competitive. You have a faculty or a board or something or an academy or whatever it is that sat down. And then out of 300 people, they figured George Quaye is the best communicator, PR, whatever, or event planner, or theater practitioner, whatever, so he deserves an award. So you have agreed that the award is mine. I should win it. And then you add, I should come and buy a table. So now that I have refused to buy a table, Who are you going to give the award to?
Next buyer. The
How can
payee.
you tell me that is not theft? So it means you move to the next available person who's willing to pay. So technically, you are telling me that I have to pay for the award. Look, last year, Nashokwe and I jointly won the CEO of the Year in the SME sector at the Ghana CEO Awards, the third edition.
Congratulations,
Nobody
yeah.
asked us to pay a peso. The event was held at Kempinski Hotel. I wore a suit. I sat there. There were performances. Pozue sat next to me. I had Uncle Fred Abugi on my right side.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful evening. I did not pay a peso. Globe Productions did it and did it very well. It was expertly organized. I did not pay a peso. I was nominated. It was published. I got there. I was announced. I went on stage. I picked my award. I have my plaques, my everything. So did. Nobody has called me to come and pay a peso. That was at Kempinski. You know how much food costs?
Yes,
at Kempinski?
definitely expensive.
And we ate. It was a 3-course dinner. Very, very dinner. You know?
So,
And we
George,
ate. And nobody has going to pay anything.
I know my time is almost up now. I'm just barely a minute more. But so all these things happening, don't you think that it has pushed the people, the consumers, to a point where now they disrespect award shows? They are not interested in award shows because partly some organizers do not understand the concept of awards. All these things happening. Don't you think that we've reached a point where now when you hear of another award scheme pop up, aside the very few that have been legendary, people just don't want to be associated with it? Like clearly your poster says that, then keep me out of it.
Oh, I think in our desire and our crave for recognition, we should also be a little circumspect and be fair and honest with ourselves.
Okay.
I know what an honor does to your CV. But look, for instance, me, George Quaye, if somebody throws a doctorate honor on me as an astute practitioner in theater, African arts, or whatever, I will not go about calling myself Dr. George Quaye. No. Soon I'll be pursuing a PhD. I'll go through the mill and earn an actual PhD so that if I want a doctorate attached to my name, it will be legit. It will not be honorary. That is not to say honorary doctorates are bad, but don't go yourself calling yourself doctor this, doctor that.
Then on what grounds do we call our politicians honorable?
No.
Oh, the honorable.
I
That is
think
where
that
we
that's
also make a
different.
mistake. The honorable is
Yes.
not part of their names. It is the office they hold. So, for instance, if you're the Minister for Trade and Industry, you are the Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry. You understand? So the name should be J. Foley, Honorable Minister for Creative Arts, Tourism and Culture.
Not Honorable
I
J.
get
Foley,
an amen.
Minister for...
No, that is not how it's supposed to be. It should be Mr. J. Foley or Dr. J. Foley, the Honorable
I
Minister.
refuse to accept it until I have finished chopping my ministerial position. Then you can switch it. Okay.
And that is how it
Thanks
is
for
supposed
schooling
to
us
be.
on that.
You understand? Yeah. So for me, I don't think award schemes are bad. I just think that in our desperate desire for recognition, we should be a little circumspect and understand that any award scheme that is asking you to pay anything, and that payment is not tied into a direct benefit, that is like a training of a sort or something. Trust me, it is a scam. If it is the payment is for a dinner table, the payment is for whatever. Unless, of course, they tell you that for this award that you have won, you have a table reserved for you and 3 other people. That is for 4 who may come with you. However, if you want to bring more people, you would have to pay to buy a table for them.
Different
That is a different conversation. That makes sense. That means those people are coming just like the general public would, because the people have made a provision for you. I got invited to the last Ghana Music Awards. My invitation was for 2, but I had people that I knew that wanted to come along. So I had to call Joanna and ask, can I get tickets to buy for 3 or 4 other people? And also the tickets were finished. They stayed at home and watched it on TV. You understand?
Well understood.
If your invitation is for a specific number, you obey it and you go with that number. If you want more, then there's room for you to buy. But don't tell me I'm the main nominee. It is like saying Joe Metal has been nominated for gospel. I can imagine somebody telling Shatawali, you have been nominated for reggae dancehall song of the year and artist of the year, but you have to pay 50,000 cedis to get a table. that this social media occurring.
George,
It doesn't make sense.
thank you so much. My time is up. Thank you so much. I know it's an impromptu call, but thank you so much for your contribution. And then wishing you all the best in your in the next activities to come that you've lined up.
The next play is actually going to be our biggest yet. We are going for Wole Soyinka's biggest work, Death and the King's Horseman. It's going to be the last 2 weekends of August, 23rd, 24th, 30th, and 31st. But I'm sure we'll come to the studio and have a conversation on that one.
Definitely. Welcome on that, George. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, bro. Nice one.
So we've been talking to George Quaye for the last 20-something. Honorable George.
Honorable Doctor.
Honorable Doctor George Quaye. Yes. Honorable Dr. George Quaye. Yes. For the past couple of minutes. But guys, I mean, I'm throwing that question back to you guys as well. Cyril gave me a fast answer to a fast food question that he says. I put out and what your thoughts are. But before that, real quickly, let me just remind you on this that it's time to get rewarded as the next big sports betting influencer with Betway. So place your bets, share your code to friends, fans, and followers. Now, if they place your bets using your code, you earn a 4% of the wager, right, or of their wager. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a win or it's a loss. Once they place it, you win. So the more time that your code is used, the more money you're going to be making, right? Start betting, sharing, and winning with Bet Influencer. It's exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. It's regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway, get way more. All right. Osteochondrosis is Kojo's going through that right now. He wants to say a lot of things. Kojo, let's hear from you.
Jay, I would like to hear your question one more time.
Is there a declining interest in award schemes? And regardless what the fault may be, do you think there's a perceived decline interest in award schemes here in Ghana?
Perceived, yes, there is a perceived.
So that means it's not true, but it's just perceived as though
well,
it is.
It depends on how you look at it.
As for you, the day you give me one side and one answer, that day every day could you say just balance?
No, it depends on how you.
One day I'll ask you what your name is. You say I think it's not maybe for sure. Sometimes it is one day. It depends.
Sometimes it's for your trip. Other times it's legit.
Oh my god.
Legit. The day you give me one answer, our time is up, but just wrap it up.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you look at it. For some people, they don't think it's important. That's why I think the last TGMAs we had DJ Slimin on social media talking about how, as an artist, if you're not interested in publicizing the scheme that is also giving you a platform to expand your reach and your market, then you shouldn't even be there in the first place. You shouldn't even be nominated in the first place. There are other people who also think, from a viewer's perspective, who think that the award schemes are popularity contests, and even if they are,
I admire you speaking for people, but what about you?
My personal opinion is that awards, receiving an honor definitely does matter because it boosts your CV, it boosts the perceived image that people have about you, and also when you're going in for other deals and whatnot, it boosts your brand basically. So I think that award schemes are very important, but the way the organization of it and everything else that comes with it should be done in a way that reflects and makes people hold it, have attached a certain value to it. Other than that, then I don't know.
Since he hasn't answered the question for me,
Jay, I've answered the question.
Our time is up. I don't want whether to end, but you were quick to push it. I don't know. Let's give you a minute to wrap this up for me.
I think the business angle of it has overwhelmed or is overwhelming the meritocracy and the promotional benefits that awards were supposed to have in Ghana. And I'm saying in Ghana because there's a lot of awards around the world who don't have the challenges we have. Yeah. So it's a societal issue. Like George said, there are bills to be paid when you have certain partners and certain sponsors and certain people enabling your award.
Yeah.
So as an organizer of the award, you also need to go where the funds are. And unfortunately for us, we have a corporate landscape where those who have the kind of money needed to fuel or power these awards are also those who ask for their pound of flesh.
They want some value back
in return.
Yeah.
There's awards all across the there's across the planet where the sponsors or the main brands, like you see an award show, maybe a fashion award for best designer something, it's sponsored by Rolex. Yeah. Rolex is not going to ask you to hash code anything or hashtag.
They don't even want to see it.
Yeah, or there's a golf something going on and it's sponsored by Porsche. You're like, Porsche is not going to do it. Show us your Porsche logo on social media for what? Nobody's going to. So these are brands that have enough money and
leverage,
associate themselves with the high value and the
reminds me of what to write on the proposal
and the
display of logo
yeah
across all platforms.
Space,
social media,
space to activate
social media.
These are we I said this before that we've turned most of our events into activation platforms. So the essence of the event itself is secondary to what the sponsorship agreement is. And that's what we have in Ghana, because our corporate landscape is not sponsoring based on just supporting. They are sponsoring because it is a big BTL activation for them. You walk into any award, and the first thing you are going to see, even before you see the award branding, is an ad. The promo is an ad. There's on the ticket is an ad.
Visibility.
The social media is an ad. There's an email somewhere in that thread that says, please make the logo bigger. It is an ad. So all these awards that we have here are giant ads for the sponsors. But in the real world, when you see some of these things happening, there's an event sponsored by Mercedes. Full stop. Mercedes says how much it's going to cost. Say 2 million euro. Here it goes. Full stop. So you can actually now reward people for why you are having the award without forcing the attendees, the nominees, and the fans to generate some revenue in return.
You see, sometimes
it is worth. Sorry, guys, our time is really up.
Just sometimes it goes beyond the revenue generation, because sometimes when you look at the requirements, it's just a rip-off. It's just a clear rip-off, because why do you need me to buy the table at a certain amount, right? What if I don't have all of the people? Maybe it's a table of 5 or a table of 10. What if I'm alone? Sometimes if you're alone and you tell them that you're alone, they will still insist that you buy the table. But if I'm alone, I don't need a table of 10. I just need to be seated, right?
That's the other side of the award. That's an award that doesn't have a driving force.
They're just ripping you off,
I would want us to take it to the
They're basically dangling your ego before
this.
you.
But it's worth expanding this conversation. There is there is one side to it which has been shared. But in playing the devil's advocate as well,
as usual,
considering the economic challenges of this part of the world, is it justified to put costs to the nominees? It's worth having a conversation on our next episode, not of Just Vibes, but of Culture Daily. Ladies and gentlemen, please, you have a birthday wish.
No, the people do the Bono Awards, they don't do short code.
I'm short of words. On that note, we are.